victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
Is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
And did you see the consumer sentiment numbers that came out? So the people are starting to see that Trump policies are working. They had a couple of months where their sentiment was down because they were listening to the media saying, oh, this is going to be the end of the economy. But now we're seeing that the policies are working. You know, business investment is skyrocketing. Jobs are skyrocketing. Inflation is going down. It's exactly as we said. And the thing about where the 4% comes from is not just picking a number out of the air. That what we've done by simulating the Trump tax cuts, we get to 3% growth very easily. And we said it's the same models that said it in 2017, and then we got it. You'll remember that, Maria.
Yeah.
The thing that's different this time is because artificial intelligence is diffusing all across the economy right now and increasing the productivity of every business. It's better at playing chess. It's better at managing inventories.
Yeah.
And that artificial intelligence productivity boom, estimates are that it's an extra 1 to 1.5% growth. And so if we get, say, the 1.5% growth out of AI plus the 3% from the taxes, it is mostly additive. And so you're looking at north of 4% growth. And that's where I got that number. It's not just picking a number out of the air.
Right.
I think going into this, I think a lot of Americans thought that higher ed needed a nice kick in the rear end. What am I talking about here? Well, why don't we take a look at high confidence in higher education? You go back a decade ago, 57% of Americans had high confidence in higher education. Look at where we are now. That number has plummeted as of last year, down to 36%. We're talking about a 36-point drop among Republicans specifically. Get this, 68% of Americans said that higher education was on the wrong track. So it's a question of whether or not people agree with Trump's tactics, but they definitely agree with him on the idea that there is a problem with higher ed overall.
One thing you've heard from President Trump and many Republican allies for quite some time is accusing colleges and universities across the country of not being a friendly place for conservatives, if you will. How do the American public feel?
Yeah, so, do colleges have a liberal bias? I think that's really the question here. And what we see in polling after polling after polling is that the plurality say yes. Overall, look at that, 45% of Americans overall agree with the idea that colleges have a liberal bias. Just 24% disagree with that idea. Look among Republicans. Hello, 67% of Republicans agree that colleges have a liberal bias. This is why Donald Trump is so emphatic and so wanting to take on this fight, because he knows that Republicans hate universities, hate the administrations, believe they have a liberal bias, and in fact, the plurality of Americans overall agree with the idea, agree with Donald Trump, that colleges are in fact a place where bias reigns.
On President Trump targeting international students, are you seeing an impact of this? I mean, obviously it's early on, but so far?
Yeah, there's definitely been an impact on it. What are we talking about? So webpage views for university courses from potential students abroad, right? This is from study portals. Get this, it is down 50% from potential international students from January 5th to the end of April. So a lot of potential international students who might be saying, hey, in the past I might want to come to America, saying, no, at this particular point, maybe I'm going to look elsewhere. Maybe I'm going to look at the United Kingdom, for example, because in the United States, we don't feel welcome.
It's great to see you, Harry. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So what is it about what's going on with the president that you like? He's a disruptor, and he's disrupted a lot.
And I like that because he is so good. He's just getting so many things done.
All right.
He's amazing.
Nice to meet you.
This country. He loves this country.
What?
He loves this country. That was right here in West Palm Beach, right in the backyard of Mar-a-Lago. These people understand. More and more people are beginning to understand what is happening. And part of that understanding is that the Democrats are crumbling and that they can't stop what is coming. I think that's what people are actually beginning to see. So I want to show you something, excuse me, as we start this evening. And those of you who, may have acquainted yourself with that 17th letter dude or girl, whoever it was, President Trump himself. Remember this afternoon, everything I talked about. As I talked to Monica, and you saw the post by George Behezy, and I've been telling you many people, law enforcement officers that I speak to, military people that I speak to, and they keep saying the military is the only way. And I told you guys to start looking and start educating yourself and seeing what's going on. President Trump posted something. I posted it on my X feed. And I want you to see this, and I want you to pay real close attention to something, all right? Because you're going to see something, and some of you are going to instantly know what the heck this thing is, and some of you guys are going to go, what does that mean? Well, now he's giving you something to go think about. Remember, I told you, signal, noise. Watch what's noise, watch what's signal. Discern, realize what you're being told, what you're seeing, what you should be focusing on is the signal, not the noise. There are communications happening on so many levels right now that many people are just flying right by them. You see, if the Democrats were smart, which they're not, they would see what's happening, how people, those kind of numbers, 60-70% of people like to screw these universities. 70% of people think that, you guys are just dens of iniquity where you're just there to indoctrinate kids and take their money and then launder it back to the Democrat Party. People are seeing it. And when you start seeing numbers like 50, 60, and 70%, you know there's a strong crossover. That is no longer just Republicans. You can't get there just Republicans. So the Democrats have a huge problem on their hand. Massive. Because Trump knows. I'm going to read you what a law enforcement person I know sent me. It's very interesting because I didn't even think about it this afternoon. But before we go there, let me show you what President Trump posted. This is on his Truth Social. He's on a mission from God. And the caption is, nothing can stop what is coming. Now, you've heard me say that. You've heard other people say that. You understand what his objective is to destroy the deep state, obliterate the deep state. And he, not anybody else, on his own profile, he posted, nothing can stop what is coming. President Trump is telling you something. You, not the media, people who follow President Trump, this is what he's saying. I'm on a mission from God. I survived that shot you tried to take at me. I survived that other guy who was, laying around in the dirt. However many other times things have happened that we don't even know about. And he feels at this point like he's on a mission from God. And he's letting you know that nothing can stop what is coming. You can take that however you want. Barry, you're crazy. That doesn't really mean anything. Sure, it doesn't mean anything. Whatever. Now I want to show you something that's in the background of this picture that a lot of people probably missed and overlooked. And I'm going to scroll up, and I want you to take a look right here. You guys see what that is? Let me see if I can blow that up. I can't. It goes bad if I blow it up. But anyway, right here against this lamppost, looking at President Trump, you see me circling it there, is the frog, Pepe. Kek. Pepe the frog. And all I can say about that is, if you know, you know. If you don't know, start looking around and seeing what Pepe the frog, where it came from, how it's used, what it means. Again, comms are out there. Signal versus noise. What the hell does this mean? And why did the President of the United States decide to troll somebody, some people, by putting out there a picture of him that says no one can stop what is coming, and he happened to include Pepe, very small for certain people to see. The man's an epic troller. He knows how to put stuff out there. And many of you, well, I won't say many, I bet there's some of you like, what in the hell is all this? Well, forget the frog for a second and just focus, if you will, on what the President of the United States said here. Nothing can stop what is coming. So this isn't a reporter. This isn't, somebody on X or Twitter playing around. The President of the United States posted that. That's who I'm listening to. That's why I say I don't care about Bongino and what the other guy's name, Cash and Pam Bondi. Nah, I don't care about that. It's not important. Something big is about to happen. You can believe it or you can choose not to, but in either way, you can't disagree that these signals are being sent. Again, if you don't want to believe me, you heard what Monica said today. You heard it's all over. People are starting to echo this, going, "It's coming, isn't it?" Oh, it's coming. It's definitely coming. Crazy. Then there was some other news. So before I get to the other stuff, let me read you what my friend texted me. And some of you guys who understand what may be coming will get this. He goes, Barry, okay, listen to this. He goes, Barry, everything you said is right on, but you're missing something that's very important. I didn't even think of this. He goes, you're missing logistics. I'm like, what are we talking about? UPS? What do you mean? He goes, how many agents are there to conduct all these investigations? How many planes, trains, and automobiles or boats would it take to send 20 million people back? How many jails do we have that can house all these people? I love when people give me questions. I'm like, oh, okay, come on, tell me more. Do you know who's in the logistics business? And I'm thinking FedEx, UPS, Amazon. Well, nope, it's not UPS or FedEx. It's the United States military. Look how they sent 500,000 troops to the Persian Gulf and Somalia. And I had to sit back and think, oh yeah, they basically just sent everybody over there that we needed to. He says, Trump has to go Karate Kid. Strike first, strike hard, and no mercy. He continued, and I went, wow, that's a great point. I didn't even think about it. He goes, when I was in Somalia, They were landing planes every 17 minutes. Every 17 minutes, they were flying in another plane full of people, full of soldiers. So we can move massive amounts of people in a very short period of time. 500,000 people were soldiers and support crew were sent over to Somalia, and a plane was landing every 17 minutes. I never even thought of that. He says, size matters in terms of the size of plane, but yes, the military can do some amazing things. In the Gulf War, we processed all those prisoners. The only government body that has the boots on the ground manpower is the military. This is why Pete has to rally the troops and build up strength. Also, Trump gets his power from the people. Think 80-20. Think about his speeches. He didn't care about the Electoral College. He wanted the popular vote because he needs to know the people are behind him. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, what a great opening for people. People need to understand that there are people in law enforcement who have been in the military who already know what can happen and how it can happen. I didn't even think about that. I've never been in the military. I know logistics was a big thing. And then you sit back after I just told you that and you're like, oh yeah, they moved planes, built all kinds of stuff, shipped everybody over there. 500,000 people. Planes landing every 17 minutes. Didn't even think about it. That's why it has to be the military. It has to be the military. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right, so let me give you a couple of things that President Trump, one thing he also posted today. It's this, and this is interesting. It says, I am pleased to nominate Paul Ingracia to the United States Office of Special Counsel. Huh? Well, what office? You just opened a new special counsel? Okay, Paul is a highly respected attorney, writer, and constitutional scholar who has done a tremendous job serving as my White House liaison for Homeland Security. Paul holds degrees from Cornell Law School and Fordham University, where he majored in mathematics and economics, graduating near the top of his class. Congratulations, Paul. Ooh. So he just nominated a special counsel. That's very, very interesting. Very interesting. What do you think that means? You guys can kick that around amongst yourselves and try to think at this point, what exactly does that mean? All these breadcrumbs are lining up. And again, it's signal and noise. Just showing you all this stuff at the same time. All right, before I continue, let me go ahead. I've got a notification here. This is the Trump red knife that each one of you guys can go ahead and purchase. But you can't purchase it. It's free. It's free. 100% free. All you have to do is pay shipping and handling. Well, there's no handling, shipping. $13 or $14. This regularly retails for $70. This is just their way of saying thank you for supporting President Trump and being a part of this moment in history. Normally this knife sells for $70. But now, right now, as part of the Fanfare family, you can get this knife for $13.99. Just go over here and click on the QR code or go to berryknife.com. And once you're on berryknife.com, you can apply your 100% off coupon and claim your Trump knife today before they're all gone. Again, that's at berryknife.com. So if you want this red knife, go ahead to berryknife.com or right there at the QR code and you can get it. All right, so let's continue with the show, shall we? Today's going to be a little bit different. Because Ann Vandersteel was supposed to be on tonight. She couldn't make it. So I'm able to show the interview I had this morning, which I think is just going to blow you away. Absolutely blow you away. And so the music, when I do the rumble jump, is a little bit more subdued. Because it has to do with kids. and as JJ, not JJ the pastor, but this is JJ Correll, we're going to be talking about some of the things. We're going to be talking about the FBI. We're going to talk about Border Patrol. We go in really deep. And if you guys like what you hear, he's made 2 movies. And he has given me permission to show you a movie. So maybe tomorrow we actually just go, do a quick news thing, and then we jump into the movie. That depends on what you guys like, and if you'd like to see that, we will definitely do it. Some additional news that's happening out here is Nvidia and Dell and Trump equals next level supercomputer. The government just hit build on a mega AI brain. I know there's still some of you who are worried about AI. The government just hit build on a mega AI brain. Nvidia, one of the biggest companies in the world, and Dell are teaming up with Trump's crew to launch Doudna. This monster supercomputer is dropping in 2026. It's basically Iron Man's lab, but real and at Berkeley Lab. It's 10x faster than anything before it, and it's built to crack fusion energy, invent new meds, and mess with quantum stuff most people pretend to understand. Trump's calling it a power move. Nvidia says it's a science time machine. Either way, it's America going full nerd on purpose. That's in addition today, everyone on Wall Street was waiting for Nvidia to announce their earnings. Nvidia blows past Wall Street with a 43.35 in Q1, 43 billion in Q1. Nvidia just lit up the quarter with 43.3 billion in revenue, crushing analyst forecasts. Most of the firepower came from its data center business, which has completely taken over the chart. Gaming and other segments are still growing, but look tiny next to the AI gold rush. Look back to Q1 2023, and they were pulling in about 7 billion a quarter. Now it's 43. Damn. 6 times that. The ramp started early in 2024 and hasn't slowed down. That is some serious revenue. Serious revenue. It's absolutely amazing. We're going to hear from Jensen Wang in a little bit, but that's crazy. So I'm tired of something coming. I want to see action. Oh, you're about to get what you want. I'm pretty sure it won't be that far. Let's see here. Nvidia is huge. Yes, do the movie. Wow, you haven't even seen the interview yet. You want to do the movie. Okay. Let's see here. Seeing some more here. Many know it's coming. The prophets have been telling everyone for hundreds of years. Good point. Very good point. Holy moly, guys. 43 billion and a supercomputer. That's absolutely very, very good. There's your cures and quantum financial system revealed. All battle is won before it is even fought. You are so right there. I don't think people realize you don't have any choice but to embrace this stuff. It's absolutely crazy. Okay. I love what Ashley told me. Stop looking at the negative people. Just move on. I'm going to move on then, because I don't know about you, but I'm getting ready. All right? I'm getting ready. And the rest of you who think it's craziness and nothing's going to happen and I'm afraid of AI and those things, that's on you. That's on you. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so I wanted to show you this too. This was my buddy. I love the way he talks. Howard Lutnick. Listen to what Howard Lutnick had to say.
The president's spoken about the national emergency that's led us to these giant trade deficits, right? I mean, he spoke about it on the campaign trail, and he wanted to use the sweeping powers of IEEPA. Now, he has many other laws and authorities that he can use, and he'll take them out if he needs to. But right now, he likes the sweeping authority because it lets him deal with everybody who treats us unfairly, who doesn't treat us reciprocally. He can use IEEPA to do the whole world and sort of set America up correctly and protect America from the national emergency. But as you know, we're going to go through the courts, and you should always bet on Donald Trump, because what we've all seen is he does not lose.
Look at the smile on that guy's face. I mean, he couldn't even fake it. He just started smiling at the end of that segment there, letting Laura Ingraham know, we're ready to rock, baby. Things are you know, I'm sorry I focus sometimes on the negative comments, because I've tried my best. I tried my best to pull people along. I did the real estate stuff, and I was trying to explain to people what's ahead. And Ashley said something to me, and I have to relate this to you. Ashley said to me, she goes, most people probably haven't been exposed to an entrepreneurial, go-getter, get the brass ring type of mindset. And so for however somewhat old they may be, they've been doing whatever they've been doing for so many years, and nobody has told them you can go for it. And that's what I've tried to do. Obviously, there's pushback. I don't want to hear the financial news. Well, you know what? Howard Lutnick, President Trump, this is what they're doing. Scott Bessent. They are doing everything possible to make America wealthy again. I'm not afraid of saying that. I know what it's going to take to get to the next level where I want to get to, where I want Robin to be as we get ready for the month of Robin, and also for Ashley and the kids. You know, I got a really close circle. I have a close circle that I need to take care of and make sure they have what they want, that they can enjoy life. And so, you know, I'll help anybody who looks to get helped, but at the same time, there's only a certain amount any other person can do. It has to come from you. You have to be the person who's going to go out and do the education and learn this and learn that, because we already know how to do it. You know, again, I'll just say this before I move on. Back to the movie, Pursuit of Happiness. What is it that you do, and how do you do it? Those two questions are what you need to ask. What is it you do, and how do you do it? Otherwise, you are just part of the people in the bleachers. And a lot of people in the bleachers have a lot of fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But you can't complain when other people want to be down on the field. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so let's get into tonight's news and go through this.
This is important because so much was done in the last 100 days of the Biden administration from an executive order standpoint.
Right.
They Trump-proofed the government. They Trump-proofed the government with the auto pen.
This is James Comer talking to Glenn Beck.
And then we all know about the pardons, but just the executive orders alone, these are giving the Trump administration fits in court, like when he's trying to bring the federal employees back to work. You know, the Joe Biden auto pen signed an executive order in the end saying they could continue to work from home and gave them collective bargaining rights and everything else. These are issues that are blocking the Trump agenda in court, and things that we think should be invalid because they weren't legitimately signed by the President of the United States. And furthermore, this investigation may reveal that the President of the United States didn't even know anything about these executive orders.
By the way, I showed that, and I found it because I was watching how Glenn Beck has put his studio together, and I've been drooling, going, okay, so when I build out the studio, that's what I want it to look like. That's exactly. I want monitors. If at a glance, if something's over here on CNN, if something's over here on MSNBC, or something's over here on Fox, I can hit a button, say, hey, blah, 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 boom, hit a button, bring it on in. Let's talk about it. I want that kind of a studio, and I shall have that kind of a studio. But in any event, James Comer is talking about the auto pen. Again, more and more information is coming out. Is that signal or is that noise? Lately, I mean, I previously thought that was signal. However, that may end up being noise. Why would it end up being noise? Because I feel, and other people feel, that President Trump is getting ready to run, getting ready to rumble, and if he flips the switch like we all think he's going to invalidate all that stuff anyway. So if and when he pulls the trigger and does suspend habeas and does go full on Andrew Jackson, that auto pen stuff is going to be the least of his concerns because he's working on so many other things. But in any event, James Comer's out there doing the rounds, telling everybody he's going to bring people in for hearings and do that dog and pony show, which will end up doing nothing. You have to realize it. At the end of it, and after all the 5 minutes going around reclaiming people's time, all they're going to do at best is refer it over to the DOJ. And then who knows what happens once he says, I'm going to give it to Pam Bondi for a referral. That's why I don't care. I don't care about that either.
When Donald Trump was elected, his first day, he had an executive order saying, get weaponization out of government. When Attorney General Bondi was confirmed, she put a memorandum out on day one saying, I'm starting a weaponization working group. I want you to look at Fannie Willis and Jack Smith and Alvin Bragg. I want you to look at targeting school board parents, Catholics. I want you to look at the whistleblowers who were targeted. Long list, actually, about 8 categories. And then beyond that, we started meeting right away. I was a member of it. And beyond that, actually, was other aspects of things.
In case you don't know, this is Ed Martin. Ed Martin was the guy that was going to be in place, and now Judge Jeanine is now taking his place as the interim U.S. Attorney for D.C. He's now been moved into the White House, or DOJ rather, as the pardon attorney, the weaponization of the DOJ. That's what he's now heading. So he's talking about what he's doing right now.
It's like, I've worked with Bobby Kennedy on COVID. Did they weaponize? How did they weaponize the COVID stuff against the citizens? And so there's categories all across government getting to the bottom of, and 3 steps, Alex. One is tell the truth. We deserve the truth. We need to know what happened, who did it, and why. If you have to name and shame, we're going to name and shame. Some of these people don't have shame, but we're going to name and shame them. Number 2 is, where possible, hold them accountable. Criminally, if they lose their jobs, take away their the grants to their universities, whatever it is, make sure that we have accountability. So tell the truth, hold them accountable. And the third thing, Alex, which this made Tillis a little nervous. He's like, you're for reparations. I said, I'm not for reparations. I am for restitution. If you put somebody in jail for years, you should have to, and you lied about it, you should have to pay for it, right? If you put somebody through the ringer in a way that is unfair, and it's deemed unfair by telling the truth, holding them accountable, you should fix it, right? This is America. It shouldn't be Strzok and Page got a sweetheart deal to get paid because their texts were shown. That happened. They got $1 million because the Biden administration and Merrick Garland paid them off. This is the ultimate payoff for inside the mob. Well, no, we're talking about people that are truly damaged. If you're damaged, you should be made whole. That's what's at stake with weaponization. And we're going to drive all the way down to the bottom of these things. We're not going to give up. We're not going to hear statute of limitation is run. I don't give a darn. We're going to name and shame. We're going to hold you accountable. And then we're going to say, you know what? You got put in jail. Some of these people rotted in jail for 3 years on January 6th on a lie that Merrick Garland and Lisa Monaco made up. Andrew Weissman created it and tried to use it in the Mueller. And then they used it called the 1512 charge. It was done incorrectly, and a bipartisan Supreme Court threw it out. Kajanji Jackson said, yeah, you got to throw that out. Well, those people that were in jail, as soon as they got that done, they walked because they were on misdemeanors only. That's so wrong and un-American. We've got to get to the bottom of it and make people whole, and we're going to do it.
Donald? All right, so he talked very fast. He's very energetic, obviously passionate about what he's saying. And there's a couple things that you maybe picked up on and should focus on. He's talking about, one thing is Tom Tillis, one of the problems he had was he was calling it reparations. Ed Martin is like, no, they're not reparations, they're restitution. You put people in jail without any foundation, held them there for 2 or 3 years like it was the Count of Monte Cristo going into, the Chateau d'If, I think was what it was called. And you threw away the key and had these people sit there and rot and put them in, some of them were in maximum protection security where they didn't, see the sun. Yeah, there's some restitution that has to come. That's not even talking about, what they're going to have to do with Ashley Babbitt's family. Why would Tom Tillis have a problem with these people getting restitution? I can't tell you. But now Tom Tillis, you pissed off Ed Martin. You wouldn't help get him confirmed, but now he's in a different office and probably is going to be able to wield even more power to come after you. As he said, name and shame. Name and shame. Bring that. If you can bring shame, I don't think you can bring shame on some of these people, like he said too. I think some of these people are so far gone, so corrupt, that they don't care about any shame. They are literally almost mob bosses running around. It's absolutely nuts to me. Nuts. And now, again, here's somebody who's going after them. They're not going to be able to look away. This isn't a hearing with the House committee or anything. This is someone in the Department of Justice who's been given marching orders to go. No other job. His only job is to go after these people. And he's pretty much going to have carte blanche to go ahead and just tear him a new butt. So they better be afraid of Ed Martin. That's somebody right there. Ooh, boy.
Trump's approval rating is 53%, net plus 7 today. That's essentially where it was the first week of this term. And so how would the press frame that? They would say, oh, worst honeymoon in presidential polling history or something like that. Well, I think people knew what Trump was going to bring to the fight, and he is. So I think this presidency is just all business, right? But man, everything that they've thrown at this guy just in the last month or two with the mainstream media, there was Signalgate, there was like all this stuff, the Qatari jet. They're literally trying to create whatever op they can, and it hasn't affected his approval rating whatsoever. Remember how much?
Imagine it. By the way, that's Mark Mitchell. We've had him on the show a couple times, more than a couple times, quite a few times, from Rasmussen Report. He's a leading pollster at Rasmussen. And imagine you're a Democrat. And President Trump, like he said, you've thrown everything at him. You've even made stuff up. You tried to create things. All this stuff to try and manufacture crisis, to demean him, to denigrate him. You've been doing it actually much longer than January 20th. They've been doing it for the last 8-9 years. And now it's getting worse for them. See, some of it may have worked before, but now you can't call him a racist. You can't call him, a Nazi. You can't call him a fascist. You can't do any of that. None of it's worked. He's completely impervious to all this crap that you guys are saying. And so now, what you've done, you've created a monster of your own doing. You have used every different weapon you could conceive to throw at this guy, and he's still standing. And better than standing, he's getting stronger. He is the ultimate villain to you people. And now you're in deep you-know-what. Because he's coming, and he's getting stronger, and people are seeing it. And with what he is probably going to do, now he's feeling, or should be feeling at this point, that he's got the people behind him. I'm telling you right now, when I was talking to Monica, freshly married woman, working in the White House, when she's like, this is what we voted for, buckle up. I'm buckled, babe. I am buckled. I am ready. When I heard her say it in that den that she's up there in Washington, that meant a lot. It resonated. And so Mark here is talking about some of those numbers.
They were screaming about his approval at the 100-day mark with all those fake numbers. They got Trump
the tariffs,
out to
Mark. Don't forget the tariffs. They were going to collapse the economy, right? The economy was going to collapse. We were going to be in the streets. It was going to be chaos. Children would be crying. Widows would be screaming. It would be horrible. None of those things happened. None of it. It's all fiction.
Worst presidential polling at a 100-day mark. The industry was able to lie him down to 7.5 points underwater. But let's not forget that in the industry, in the aggregate on Real Clear Politics, Biden spent almost all of his term underwater, at least 15 points. And so nobody was running headlines then. But this right direction number, I've talked about it a lot. Maybe people are getting bored about it. I don't know. But every time we set a new record, it's just so unprecedented because in 20 years, we've never seen anything like this.
So in 20 years, they've never seen anything like that in their polling and their numbers. But somebody's gaining this kind of strength. He's like Thanos. He's got all the different jewels They're all coming together. And he's going to be, if not already, unstoppable. The Democrats are no longer the opponent. They are no longer of any sort of adversary. Neither is the media. Nothing is working. I don't know if you heard tonight, but they chopped the knees off of Jen Psaki. She's no longer going to be in primetime. She was supposed to be the next big star. She's done. MSNBC's audience. Let me see if I can find this because it's absolutely stunning. I don't know how you can stay in business when you're getting numbers this bad. Let me show you this. And it's weird that you have to go overseas to actually get these kind of numbers because the press here won't cover the details on this stuff. And when the press here won't cover it, then you got to go overseas. It's loading here. Let me show you this. Breaking. NBC's viewership has dropped 41% this month. 41! Fresh embarrassment for struggling MSNBC as new lineup leads to disastrous ratings drop. I'm going to tell you right now, if my numbers went down 41%, I'd probably have to start looking for something else to do or just start buying houses exclusively. Forget this thing. 41% in 1 month. Not like it's gradual. It was like poof, off the charts. Just implosion. People are tuning out. That's a good thing. That means what you are doing is working. That means what Benny's doing, what I'm doing, what PBD's doing, what Joe Rogan, all these people are doing things. Tim Pool, Steven Crowder, all these people are doing things the media can't even compete. Just think about that. 41% have dropped. How are they paying these people $1 million salaries? When RFK Jr. flips off the switch and says there's no more pharmaceutical advertising, they're done. They are completely toast at that point. At a 41% drop, you will have other sponsors and advertisers jumping out the way. Nope, can't touch that. You're radioactive at this point. You are an absolute train wreck. Just that's it. They're done. 41%. I can't even fathom that. And so you have to attribute that to Trump. You have to attribute that to people like, gas is cheaper, food is cheaper, my rent looks better, I might still be able to afford a house, and all this stuff that you've been saying. Everything is all BS. And now we can see it. And so I don't need to watch you anymore. I'm going to click off. I'm tired of you people lying to me. If they're going to lose that kind of audience share, if they're going to start losing and dropping down 41%, no wonder they're willing to spend $20 million to find out, how can we do this podcast thing? Well, the problem with you trying to do this podcast thing is nobody believes you. They hate your host. You have a network. You can't get people to watch a network. What do you think? You think people are going to tune into a podcast to hear these clowns? No. Ain't going to happen. And so now Trump is just keeps getting stronger. Like I said, Thanos putting all the jewels together. He's destroying these networks without really having to do anything. Remember, the FCC hasn't gone after them yet. But they're panicking, and I'm going to show you that in a second.
You're willing to break the Constitution and have President Trump have a third term?
Well, actually, I have a bill that amends the Constitution, and there's a process by which you can do that. Now, let's be honest, that's a tough and long road. It has to go through the House, has to go through the Senate, it has to be ratified by the states. But I think what it does is it forces a conversation when you juxtapose the Trump administration, his vision for America, versus the failed policies of Joe Biden and what he did to the
These people are starting to feel their O's, I guess. That's Andy Ogles. I think Ashley has him booked next week. I got to ask him about that. Like, wait a second, man. Are you, number one, he's going to be 82 or 83. I mean, he's got a lot of stamina, but I don't know if he's going to have that kind of stamina to continue another term. But now the fact that he's bringing that up, he's now bringing that up into the conversations. That's big. The fact that this is definitely noise. Understand, sometimes noise can be a deflection and cause people to freak out. Well, this is noise. It's not going to happen more than likely because it would need a constitutional amendment. But the fact that he's bringing it up, that noise is going to cause heads to turn and allow Trump to do something else that he wants to do.
Economy and international trade.
Yeah, I mean, the bill made a big splash when you first launched it. What kind of reception have you gotten from colleagues on that bill?
You know, again, it's one of those, it forces a conversation. We have a lot of support in the House. We haven't pushed it aggressively, quite frankly, because we've been working on reconciliation. But, you know, that being said, we all acknowledge the fact that getting it through the finish line, getting it ratified by the states would be a challenge. But it forces that conversation to say, what future, what vision do you have for America? And I think the Trump vision is clearly what the American people want.
It sure does. Meanwhile, Congressman...
Agreed.
Oh, it's what? 8:15, the man doesn't sleep. He just dropped 2 megaton bombs. Huge bombs. Let me get this set up. I mean, it's a long post and followed by a really short post. And even the short post, I think, is a megaton bomb. The U.S. Court of International Trade incredibly ruled against the United States on a desperately needed tariffs, but fortunately the full 11-judge panel on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit has just stayed the order by the Manhattan-based Court of International Trade. Where do these initial 3 judges come from? How is it possible for them to have potentially done such damage to the United States of America? Is it purely a hatred of Trump? What other reason could it be? I think I know where he's headed here. I was new to Washington and it was suggested that I use the Federalist Society as a recommending source on judges. I did so openly and freely, but then realized that they were under the thumb of a real sleazebag named Leonard Leo. Okay, here we go. A bad person who in his own way probably hates America and obviously has his own separate ambitions. He openly brags how he controls judges and even justices of the United States Supreme Court. I hope that is not so and don't believe it is, then why is he saying it? In any event, Leo left the Federalist Society to do his own thing, in quotation marks. I am so disappointed in the Federalist Society because of the bad advice they gave me on numerous judicial nominations. This is something that cannot be forgotten. With all that being said, I'm very proud of our picks, but very disappointed in others. They always must do what's right for the country. In this case, it's only because of my successful use of tariffs that many trillions of dollars have already been pouring into the United States from other countries, money that without these tariffs we would not be able to get. It is the difference between having a rich, prosperous, and successful United States of America and quite the opposite. Let me just stop there. Why do you think he's saying this? Why do you think he's telling you that he wants a, quote, where is that? Rich, prosperous, and successful United States of America. The reason he says that is the same reason I try to help people learn in different things, whether it be crypto, whether it be real estate, is because I'm following his lead. That's what he wants for America. All right, let's continue. The ruling by the U.S. Court of International Trade is so wrong and so political. Hopefully the Supreme Court will reverse this horrible, country-threatening decision quickly and decisively. So he's putting power on SCOTUS. Backroom hustlers, don't know who they are, must not be allowed to destroy our nation. The horrific decision stated that I would have to get the approval of Congress for these tariffs. In other words, hundreds of politicians would sit around D.C. for weeks and even months trying to come to a conclusion as to what to charge other countries that are treating us unfairly. If allowed to stand, this would completely destroy presidential power. The presidency would never be the same. The decision is being hailed all over the world by every country. other than the United States of America. Radical left judges, together with some very bad people, are destroying America. Under this decision, trillions of dollars will be lost by our country, money that will make America great again. It would be the harshest financial ruling ever leveled as a sovereign nation. The President of the United States must be allowed to protect America against those that are doing it economic and financial harm. Thank you for attention to this matter. I don't know who he's thanking. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's SCOTUS. That's signal. That is signal right there. President Trump is telling you in no uncertain terms, I'm not taking it anymore. How many times do you have to understand that? He just keeps saying it. At some point, to the masses, left and right, it's got to sink in. I want this country to be rich, prosperous, and successful. 3 words that some people recoil against for some reason. Like Ashley said, maybe people just aren't used to it. Are you really thinking I could be rich, prosperous, and successful? Maybe not all 3, but one of the 3 might still be very much different than how you're living right now. Nobody's told you. Nobody's coached you and said, go for it. You've had a dream. What's your dream? What do you want to do? Unless at this point you just want to sit on the couch and watch. But he's telling you, he's not stopping. He's 78. He's older than me, so I need to get going. Then, this one here is going to cause, it's a short one, about what's happening with Elon Musk. And the left, I'm telling you right now, they're gonna hear this from Trump and go, oh my goodness, we've been had again. Yes, you have. All right. This should be very interesting. I am having a press conference tomorrow at 1:30, which means I will be covering it and hope you guys join me at 1:30 p.m. with Elon Musk at the Oval Office. Thought he was gone. This will be his last day, but not really, because he will always be with us, helping all the way. Elon is terrific. See you tomorrow at the White House. 1:30 press conference. I will definitely cover it. What do you think's about to happen? This will be his last day, but not really. And right now, you know, there are people all over the leftist sphere that are absolutely freaking out in hearing this news. Sent another message from Dan Bongino. Yeah, I don't want to really cover the press conference. All that is going to happen. By the way, then tomorrow night is the rally in Pittsburgh. So he's going to have a press conference at 1:30 in the afternoon. See, Fridays have always been easy for me lately. I just do one show. Looks like we're going to have 2 tomorrow again. Yep, 2 shows tomorrow. We're going to do the press conference and maybe some news, and then we got the rally in the evening. So stuff's happening. Fun stuff. Good stuff. I hope you guys all realize this. I hope you see what's happening and understand at this point there is so much going on, and it's now up to you. Somebody says Presidential Medal of Freedom. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. That would be very cool. Poopy is going to hit the fan. Man, I said this afternoon. I said, don't be surprised if you see him at the rally tomorrow night. Don't be surprised if, he gets on the plane with President Trump after, the press conference and you see him on stage tomorrow night. Don't be surprised at all. What time is the rally happening in the evening? I believe it's 5:30. I will double check that and post it. But I think it's at 5:30 tomorrow. Let's see here. Amazing. Boom. Chakalaka. Boom. MAGA, baby. Yeah, we got a rally tomorrow. B says, I got goosebumps. He ain't going anywhere. Elon is not going. He's got to be right there, but he can't because of the rule that says you can only do it for 6 months or whatever it is, 90, whatever the time frame. But he ain't going anywhere. So that just busted all their bubbles again. And President Trump just came out. Yeah, we'll talk tomorrow at 1:30. Can't wait to hear what he has to say. Maybe tomorrow they'll ask him about the jet again. No, he'll get to embarrass some more people. Yeah, he said he'll do that for sure. I love the rallies are best. And understand if there's music goes, well, we're going to play the music. We don't care. We're going to just go through it. All right, somebody looked it up. It's at 7. If it's at 7, that means I'll probably go live at about 6:30. The press conference is at 1:30 tomorrow. I'll have to watch the rerun. Have a coronary doctor appointment at 11:30. Okay, good luck with that. Hope you fare well. Where is the rally? The rally is in Pittsburgh, as he's announcing what's going on with U.S. Steel. I remember someone asking what you were going to do from Trump's, what you were going to do after Trump got elected. I think you wouldn't mind going back to the pre-election schedule. Yeah, just a rally every couple of days. Let's see here. Love the depth and width of the truth you share. I'm totally hooked. Thank you very much. So like the plane. That's Neo. The plane. Yeah. Imagine being a White House reporter, and you get in there and you're looking at Elon Musk and Donald Trump and probably a couple other people, and they're talking about the things that Doge has done and how they're going to look to codify all the stuff and everything he's done. And you're going to go, hey, yeah, but what about the farmers in South Africa? Are you still that kind of a racist guy? Oh, just get out of my face. Maybe Elon will give, there's a good point. Maybe Trump will give Elon a different job. No, he's got to go back to Tesla. He's got to go back in there. I saw something today that says Elon is going to be an advisor to Trump and other agencies. He ain't going anywhere. I'm telling you right now, he's going to be doing something. They can't get rid of him. All right. Thanks, SV, for sending me those notifications. 1:30, huh? All right, so much for just kicking back and not doing anything tomorrow until 3 o'clock. We got a show. Where am I? Somebody says Jen Psaki. Yeah, I just said that Jen Psaki just lost her show. They're done. I don't know what they're going to do at this point. 41% drop in viewership. That's absolutely crazy. There's lilies out there making noise. All right, let's continue.
Done out in the open. It's being done in the light of day. We're not doing it at the 11th hour here or as we're on our way up to the Capitol to see the next president being sworn in. And I might add, I don't think there's any doubt who's actually signing these pardons. You know, at the end of Biden's term, we had thousands of people that were pardoned or offered some kind of clemency for drug offenses. I have my doubts about whether Joe Biden signed all of those. And there's obviously, because of the new books that are out, clear reporting here that there was something of a Politburo running the White House at the end of the Biden administration when many of the most controversial pardons were issued. So in this case, Donald Trump, I think, is fully owning all of these decisions. And I agree with Ellie. In the Grimm case, if for no other reason than this paralysis that he suffered and the fact that he'd paid his debt, I think it's a defensible decision. And in fact,
the reason I cut that in there is because I loved the cutaway when they showed like a panoramic shot and everybody on the panel is just like this. Talk about being dejected. You like the Harry said in that poll, or Mark said, you've thrown everything at him. Everything. And like the Energizer Bunny, he just keeps coming. He just keeps coming, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh my gosh, we can't stop him. No one can stop what is coming. Okay? Just get it through your heads. We all seem to, hope many of you understand what this actually means at this point. No one can stop what is coming. He's not going to let these judges do it. He's not going to let, the Democrats are done. The Democrats, I saw, what's her name, Debbie Wasserman Schultz was out there giving a video about some other guy in detention and we need to get him out. I saw Liz Warren crying about millionaires and billionaires. He's making them all the money. And people in her comments were like, shut up. You make $175,000 a year. You're worth $12 million. Where'd you get your money? Miss Millionaire. They just lie. They have nothing but lies. There's nothing they can say to people. If you ever lurk and go through a thread of someone on the left and you see these people are just complete nuts. And the media has turned them into even worse than anything else. They're crazy.
But after years of the media, including people like, one of these books' authors, Jake Tapper, trying to run a massive cover operation for their candidate, I can't help but think they're still missing the real threat here. Even though the title makes it sound more open and reasonable, the authors make it very clear that they consider the main original sin is, quote, the original sin of the election of 2024 was Biden's decision to run for re-election, followed by aggressive efforts to hide his cognitive diminishment. So in other words, why did you guys give us such a crappy candidate? Why'd you set us up for failure? Why'd you play upon a bias for the last 4 years?
So one of the things that I want you to realize with Jake Tapper's book and the tour he's doing and everything else, this huge mea culpa, where he's trying to retain whatever shred of credibility he may have. It's gone. There's nothing you can do. You were the people who said he was sharp as a tack. Unfortunately for them, there's video literally up until July 26th of last year, the day before the debate, saying he's sharp as a tack. And all the people on the right are just making it up, and there's nothing wrong with them. Those videos are still online. And it was a ton of people saying it. And now he's writing this book, and they're doing a tour, and they're trying to erase everything, try to put his memory hole it. Or as like Robbins follows, the Mandela effect. You guys know what the Mandela effect is, huh? Have you guys ever looked into the Mandela effect? I feel like that's what they're trying to do to us right now. They're trying to let us know, oh, that never happened. Dude, I saw it. I actually saw what you said, Jake, and all the other people on the left. You can't now force a Mandela effect. You can't turn this into some sort of alternative reality. The Mandela effect has happened so much that people are starting to realize there's something happening. I don't know what it is. And if you haven't looked into the Mandela effect, that's not a conspiracy theory. Things that you think you know have been changed. Pretty simple. Don't know how it was changed. Don't know. I mean, there's so many of them. In terms of the Berenstain Bears and all these other, some crazy stuff out there. You know, what was the Fruit of the Loom logo? What did it used to look like? You go down that rabbit hole for a couple hours, like, oh, damn. And so now it's like they're trying to do one in the media. Oh, you know, it wasn't me. I never said it. Yeah, I got the video. Oh, it just evaporated. It's not there. It's crazy stuff happening with these people in the media. I mean, absolutely crazy.
Help us love you. Please, please, please. Is that the sin that he decided to run again? Or was it the sin of all of the cover-up? That seems like a bigger sin than the actual sin, doesn't it? One seems like a venial sin and one seems like a mortal sin. Now, co-author Alex Thompson, promoting his book this weekend, told Fox News that a Biden aide admitted that his staff acted undemocratically for the past 4 years. Wow, really? As they were lecturing us about a danger to the republic or a danger to our democracy, they now are admitting they were acting outside of our democracy. So let me get
because one of the things that was talked about, and many people got drilled in their head, and I used to tell people the same, you know, why are these people so dangerous? Because by convincing people that President Trump was a Nazi or a fascist, the worst of the worst, you know, you gay people aren't going to have any rights. He's gonna make everything that you do illegal, and when you're sitting there brainwashing people that for months. What would you do if you were in 1939 Germany? If you were able to get in the DeLorean and go back to 1939 before Hitler did what he did, what would you do to stop Hitler? So there was no accident in what they were doing. They were trying to tell people this is as bad as 1939. He doesn't have a little tiny mustache and he's not doing all the... Well, actually, they said he was doing this stuff too. Everything they could to reenact 1939. And so if it was 1939 and you had the opportunity to stop what eventually happened, what would you have done? What would you have done to save 6 million Jews? What would you have done? This wasn't by accident. You guys tried to brainwash and MK Ultra a whole legion of people into believing this guy's as bad as Mussolini and Hitler combined. Did you remember hearing that? That's what they were saying. So if you're an impressionable nut and you're crazy, and this is what you're hearing through the propaganda and gaslighting and the MK Ultra effect that they're trying to put on you, he is fascist. He's worse than Mussolini and Hitler. Oh, what would you do? Even I, if I could get into the DeLorean and go with Marty back to 1939, I would try to find a way. Is there anything we can do to stop this guy? We knew now, because of hindsight, what he did and how he just tried to march from country to country. Yes, if you were back then, you would have tried to stop him. So that's exactly what they tried to do to people, Jake Tapper included. And now they're trying to tell you, hey, we made a mistake. No, you didn't make a mistake. Your plan failed. That's the big difference. You did not make a mistake. You knew exactly what you were doing. You were executing the plan, and it failed. And now you're like, I'm making $20 million a year. I got this great job. How can I regain some of this credibility? Oh, I'll write a book saying, I didn't know. I got it wrong. No, you got nothing wrong. You got exactly what you desired. You sold out. And now you're trying to sell out again by writing a book saying, I didn't know. It was a mistake. Nobody's buying it, bro.
Exact quote from the book. Biden's aide said, quote, he, Biden, just had to win, and then he could disappear for 4 years. He'd only have to show proof of life every once in a while. When you vote for somebody, you're voting for the people around them too. No, you're not. You are not.
So the plan, obviously, that's being exposed, which has got to have Ed Martin just drooling at this point, because the people have actually said this and given these quotes, is we didn't care whether it was a whole community of people doing things, just as long as it wasn't Trump. See, when you think you're going to take down one of the worst dictators in all of history, everything's fair game. And they believed it, some of them believed it. We must do whatever it takes to take down Trump. But what they didn't realize, or maybe some of them realized, is what they really meant. What the real objective was to take down you. And President Trump told you that over and over and over. I'm just in the way. That's all I am. I'm just one man. One man. Like the beginning of my show. He's just one man. If they get rid of him, then they come for us. So none of this was really about Trump. It was what Hillary and all these people have talked about, putting us in re-education camps. The plan was there. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna raise capital gains tax on unrealized capital gains. Essentially, we're gonna just foreclose and take your property from you, because you're not gonna pay the unrealized capital gains tax because you don't have the money. Hey, looks like you bought this house in 1985 and you bought it for $100. Now it's worth $300, and that's $200,000 in gain. Now you're going to have to pay us, 25%, cough up to $50,000. Well, I don't have $50,000. Oh, okay. Well, then guess what? It's now our house, and you now live in government housing. It wasn't Trump. Trump was just in the way. The plan was to take all of us down. That's what we can never let happen again. That's why it's important for you to get off the sidelines and out of the bleachers. They tried to take you down. And if you can't understand that, I can't help you. They weren't even being shy about it. That's the worst thing about it.
You are voting for that person to be president, the one that is the only one that can put the code into the football. That's what we do as a democracy. Now, does that sound like the original sin? Or does it sound like the Biden deciding to run again in 2024 was the sin? I mean, the real original sin is what the hell was happening between 2021 and 2025? Who was covering up for all this? What unelected officials were calling the shots, not in just our name, but in Joe Biden's name? What were they responsible for doing to our country? Which decisions did he make, and which decisions are completely unlawful?
All right, so as he's asking you, me, other people that question, the answer isn't what you think it is. The answer isn't, don't worry about who was making the decisions. Worry about what decisions were made. Because when you know that these decisions were made, like putting Ketanji Jackson on the Supreme Court and doing this and doing that, our founders never, ever could have ever imagined that we would have had people in our government who would be so absolutely corrupt. And because they couldn't imagine that people would be so absolutely corrupt, they didn't write much into the Constitution to fix it. Except one thing. You see, everything they did was against the United States. And so I don't realize if Ben Franklin and John Hancock and Thomas Jefferson knew what they were doing, but they did give us the remedy for what happened. The problem is too many people are afraid of taking that medicine. Because when you take that medicine, oh boy, does it taste bad. But it's going to clear things up. But it tastes bad. Might make you sick. Might throw up. Might give you diarrhea. Might give you bloating. Might give you gas. I sound like a pharmaceutical commercial. Because if you take that medicine, all these things could happen. In fact, more than one of those things could happen. You may get the bloating. You may get diarrhea. You may throw up. You may pass on. All these things could indeed happen. But if that medicine is going to save you eventually, once you get through the bloating and the diarrhea and the gas and everything else, you're going to take that medicine because you have to in order to survive. You see, the founders gave us that medicine. And it's the only medicine that can fix what these people did. We don't have time to go and do any sort of court hearings to find out who did this and who did what. We already know. We already know that this guy was gone. And we don't have time to go through and investigate this and investigate that and take him to court that shouldn't be, a judge that shouldn't be sitting there is listening to it. We don't have time. And so this is where it becomes a point where you realize that this point in history that your founding fathers of this country did indeed give us the remedy. And that remedy, unfortunately, is what President Trump is going to have to do. That is in the Constitution. That's not being dictatorial. That's like, hey man, we've been attacked. The enemy, what has he said many times? The enemy within. General Flynn, enemy within. The enemy has been here. The enemy has fostered and perpetuated. And now, what do you do with this enemy? It's not taking him to court. It's not doing any of this because we don't have time. You got to fix it. If another country had come in across the shores, and I'm sitting here in South Florida, and we see tanks and stuff rolling across the beach, and they're coming in, and they've got planes and drones and everything getting ready to attack Miami or Fort Lauderdale. Do you think what we should be doing is calling a judge, seeing, hey, what do we do about this? You know, I'd like to shoot, and I'd like to begin doing something, but I'm not really sure. Let me ask this judge what we should do. Let me ask Jim Jordan and Mike Johnson what we should do. Far-fetched, until you realize that's exactly what they did. So if we know that it happened, and his book is telling people that in no uncertain terms, then there is only one remedy. And if you think there's another one, you let me know. That's Lily. She's not happy. She got a haircut today.
Now, this is not a critique on the media. They all suck and we all know it. But they're still missing the big picture. We were lied to. our democracy was not a democracy. It was, I don't even know, well, they called themselves the Politburo, which is a communist term for the elites making all the decisions. Now, this isn't from, some internet blogger, not Joe down the street, but we were lied to by a presidential administration, and there was a cover-up operation directed at all of us to ensure.
I'm going to take it a step further, Glenn. What triggered the cover-up? Could it be perhaps everything went haywire when July 13th failed? I want to take you back to July 14th, or maybe the evening of July 13th. If what they planned succeeded, what would have happened? How many of you have thought of that and said, okay, he's gone. We watched his head explode on television like John F. Kennedy. Oh my gosh, what do we do? Well, this guy's going to be president. This rolling husk is going to be president, basically unopposed. It's July. What do we do? How are we going to mount? No, it ain't going to happen. They would have just went in and taken over. And what do you think would have happened at that point? They had to do July 27th because that was a debate. And they're like, oh my goodness, we got to put this guy on stage. He's one step away from having to wear diapers again. They never expected that he would have to even take that stage. If July 13th had gone the way they wanted it to, that debate would have never have happened, and nobody, including Jake Tapper, would be talking any differently than they were on July 12th. So that's what you really have to think about, is because we were literally that close. That close. I don't ever want to be that close again. In order for that to make sure that doesn't happen, as Dan Bongino used to say, cutesy time is effing over. We have to make sure this never happens again. And the reason I keep bringing it up to you in terms of, well, not just me, the president posted something. No one can stop what is coming. Y'all can scramble around and say he shouldn't do it, and he's being dictatorial, and he's breaking the Constitution. No, he's not. There's a remedy right there in front of him. You guys all know it. Everybody knows it, but people don't understand because that medicine tastes really bad.
Sure, they're what I describe as a demonic machine, just kept churning. I mean, I would be outraged if this was happening with Donald Trump, and we should be. The same outrage that we feel now because of Joe Biden, but the left and the Democrats don't seem to share that outrage. They still believe the ends justify the means. That's not a principle that is an American principle, and not one that we need to hold on to.
I would say Pelosi's actually very good at her job. I don't agree.
Okay, so here's some more evidence of their problem. I don't know how this guy who came from the town bordering me, I mean literally right down the street, he was there when the Parkland shooting took place. And somehow, from being a stupid kid who ended up being at this thing, and notice all the other ones kind of floated away and went to go live real lives. But he just became a darling of the left, as I'm talking about David Hogg, and to the point where this kid has risen to being the vice chairman of the Democrat National Committee, and now they're trying to oust him. And I don't know how James O'Keefe gets these videos, but it's amazing that he gets embedded, and now you're hearing bit by bit what these people, how snaky they really are, and how terrified they are of telling people what they really feel. Listen to this.
With the stock trading stuff, I mean, she gets better returns than almost every hedge fund in this city every year. Some of these members of Congress make trades that are like way too well timed to not have like insider knowledge. They happen to be some of the best financial analysts in human history.
Have you spoken against that?
I've talked to them in the past, but it's also like I know that if I pick that fight, it's going to be harder for us to get gun control passed. So I pick my battle. Like the hardest part about my job is I just want to burn everything down because it's all so corrupt. But you got to pick your battles and slowly build your momentum.
Joining us now, DNC Vice Chair David Hawk.
We're not going to go after Pelosi. One, we wouldn't beat her, even if we wanted to. That's part of it. But two, it's an unnecessary fight like when there's other members that are far weaker. And I would say Pelosi's actually very good at her job. I don't agree with the stock trading stuff. Or you don't? No. Some of these members of Congress make trades that are like way too well timed to not have like insider knowledge about. So it's a huge problem.
Do you think that's how Pelosi is worth hundreds of millions of dollars?
Yes. I mean, she gets better returns than almost every hedge fund.
Oh, but it's a good thing it's not Hillary, because this would be a dead man walking. I cannot believe he got sucked into this somehow. And some of you guys are reminding me, he somehow parlayed the fact that, you know, he was traumatized at school, and like some people are saying, he wasn't even there. He wasn't even in school that day, but somehow became a fixture, a picture of everything that was going on down here in Parkland. But he's giving out more information, going, she's bad. She's this. Advice to you: if you go into a meeting and you don't know who the other people are at the table, don't start blabbing, because the cameras that people can wear and everything else are so small, you'd never know that you're being taped. Be careful. This kid, stupid. Again, he's not a politician. He's not a political operative, and he just walks straight into his own execution here. Probably literally.
Every year.
And you don't think that has to change?
No, it does.
How would you change that?
I just ban members of Congress from owning stock.
I would just ban members of Congress from owning stock, which I agree with. I don't mean you shouldn't have to not own stock. You just can't trade stock. So if you come into Congress already with a portfolio, you can keep your portfolio, and you once you put it into a trust and you have complete arm's length, but you can't keep trading while you're in Congress. I think that's bad. So I don't think he's wrong there. I just think you're speaking out against the family. I don't think they're going to like that. In fact, I'm pretty sure they're not going to like that.
So you're going to put their assets in a blind trust.
You're going to prop up candidates who oppose that? Is that your goal, to prop up candidates?
I mean, in part, yeah.
Yeah, because it's a long haul. There's 435 members.
Yeah.
And most likely 430 of them are doing the same thing, which is why they don't want to. I don't know, but I'm just stating.
I think it's a pretty good guess.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Just conveniently. They happen to be some of the best financial analysts in human history.
Have you spoken against that?
I've talked to them, but it's also like, I know that if I pick that fight, it's going to be harder for us to get gun control passed. So
good luck with that, even if you didn't pick that fight. So you should go ahead and try and pick that fight, because now you're going to have to save your butt. They're coming for you, bro. Just so you know, they caught you on camera saying this stuff about Nancy Pelosi. You're done for. You are completely done. Forget the DNC. You'll be lucky to serving coffee back here in Parkland.
My bad. Like the hardest part about my job is I just want to burn everything down because it's all so corrupt. But you got to pick your battles and slowly build your momentum.
It makes Trump.
So obviously what you're going to see in the next couple of clips is the Democrats just trying everything they can to, hey, I'm not part of this. It's not me. It hasn't been me. And one of those people who's been doing it for quite some time is Stephen A. Smith.
Look right. Because that hatred for him that led people to compromise their own professional principles just to ensure that he didn't win the presidency? Well, if you were willing to do that, then all of a sudden, does it not buffer his arguments about lawfare being exercised against him? Does it not buffer his argument about fake news, fake news, fake news? Does it not buffer the credibility that comes to his arguments that it was a witch hunt? Does it not in some way buffer the notion that somebody might have cheated him in 2020? I don't.
Welcome to the party. Stevie, you're just starting to realize this, huh? So the mea culpa that's happening on the left is happening in a wide way. Like, hey, man, are you serious? So now, May of 2025, almost June, now you're realizing he may have been cheated in 2020? Now, because of what you're seeing exposed, now is the reason why you think that's happening? Where you been? Where have you been? What, you realize what you have ignored for 5 years? And you consider yourself a high-level journalist? Well, you needed to do some journalism. You needed to go out and start doing some reporting. You needed to start digging. Because just now you're realizing, well, y'all lied about this. Well, you probably lied about that. No poop. No crap. We all know it. Welcome to the party.
Believe that last part. He lost that damn election. And I get that. I'm talking about him genuinely feeling cheated. As opposed to knowing he's lying because, oh my God, the numbers say so. Why should he give a damn? The rest of us, yes. Why should he give a damn about the numbers? You see what hatred can do? You see what an absence of objectivity can do? You see how the corrupt actions of a few, whether it's him and a potpourri of his lies over the years, or
notice what they're all doing right now. It was them. They were doing bad stuff. They were incredible. It was them. They were doing all. Jake Tapper. Nope. It was. Hey, I didn't know. Stephen A. Smith. Oh, it was them. Wasn't me. Yeah, it was you. I got videos on my channel. I've got videos going way back with you, Stephen A. Smith, saying what you're saying. This ain't gonna work. Again, I don't know if they're trying to put us through some sort of Mandela effect, but dude, we have the videos. We know what you said as far away as a year ago. The same thing like all these other people in the media are doing. And, you know, people would have more respect for you people if you just, like, you know, did the jack on the Titanic and rode that thing down into the icy water. Just go ahead and say, yeah, I'm king of the world. Take it. Just go down. Stop trying to say it's them and them. See, this is when you know you've got your enemy on the run, because there's no place to hide at this point. You are on that Titanic, and the boats have already been given away, and you're trying to find a way to say, is there someplace I can get to? Nope. Nope. You backed the wrong horse.
Democrats and the lies that they were spewing leading up to the election. You see how we all got screwed?
I can't believe I've been hearing this stuff in the media lately. You see what y'all did? You? See what y'all did all this? Oh, wow. They're starting to eat themselves. You did it. You did it. You did it. You did it. No, you all did it. Every single one of you. I got the videos. We ran the tapes. We've seen what you people have said. We've seen what you said about President Trump. I could never vote for that man. Oh, not. And now you're like, it wasn't me, it was them.
Because now the American people are sitting here not knowing what to believe or who to believe anymore. And then you wonder why I'm pissed.
But in this moment,
you're pissed because they got caught. That's why you're pissed. You're pissed because Cinderella, it struck midnight and her feet were too big. None of you thought of the other side plan. You didn't think, what are we going to do if he wins? What are we going to do when they find out that Joe Biden was a blabbering blah, 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 in pajamas? What are we going to do? I feel like you guys have seen that scene in the movie Aliens and there's fire burning and thing blew up and what's the guy's name was? I forget his name. Bill Paxton. He's like, what are we going to do, man? What are we going to do? This is some really messed up stuff going on right here. That's what they're doing right now. That's exactly what they're doing right now. They're running around going, what are we going to do? Oh, it's too late, man. It's really too late. The mea culpas aren't working. You can't blame everybody else. And then we know about CBS. Trump's suing him for like $50 billion. They tried to offer him $15 million to get off, and he looked like Tom in The Godfather. Can't help you. Can't help you. And so now listen to this. This is Scott Pelley. Scott Pelley from 60 Minutes. The same show that is getting CBS sued. You think he learned something? I got some bad news for you. Nope.
This moment, this morning, our sacred rule of law is under attack. Journalism is under attack. Universities are under attack. Freedom of speech is under attack.
Aren't you giving a speech? If freedom of speech was under attack, then how in the hell are you be able to stand up at a podium giving a whole bunch of lies? Does the irony not just shower these people? Freedom, this, that, speech is under attack as I lied to you giving a speech in front of a bunch of graduates who man, I just can't wait to get done here, get my degree, and go drink a beer. And you're talking about this crap because you're the one being sued for $50 billion, not me.
And insidious fear is reaching through our schools, our businesses, our homes, and into our private thoughts.
It's time for the Vulcan mind meld here. How is Trump getting into your private thoughts? They've lost it. They've completely lost it.
The fear to speak in America. Power can rewrite history with grotesque, false narratives. They can make criminals heroes and heroes criminals.
This dude has watched too many Shakespearean plays. Heroes out of criminals. Criminals, heroes. Dude, you're being a little bit dramatic, okay? We're out here in the sun. Can you get to it? Can you get to it? I just want to pick up my degree and get the hell out of here. What you talking about? If I was Vanderbilt, Wake Forest rather, I would say, can you just give us our money back? What is this dude talking about? We didn't know he was going to come out here and do this. I'm sorry, kids. Here's your degrees. Do the backflips. Do whatever you do. Throw the hats.
Power can change the definition of the words we use to describe reality. Diversity is now described as illegal. Equity is to be shunned. Inclusion.
Equity is to be shunned. I'm pretty sure I like equity. When I look at equity, it makes me money. I don't give away equity. I earn equity. So no, it's not shunned. It's encouraged. Real equity, not fake equity. Not that DEI stuff that you hand out like a lollipop. Oh, here, you've got some equity. You can look at it for a couple times now after I did. No, I'm talking about equity that builds a portfolio. Man, these people are nuts.
Is a dirty word. This is an old playbook, my friends. There's nothing new in this.
And you know the people behind him and the people in front of him are like, oh man, can we just get to the part where you hand me my diploma? This is supposed to be one of the best days of my life. I'm supposed to be upbeat and happy, and I'm listening to the Grim Reaper up there telling me that it sucks. You have nothing to look forward to because this guy Trump is president. It's all downhill from there. just imagine a year from now when you're pouring the super latte grande at Starbucks. That's all you have to look forward to. No, that's all you have to look forward to because you got a stupid degree. Man, these people are bad.
We're in a situation now, big picture here is IEPA. We were using the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. There's no question that there's an economic emergency with respect to both uses that we had. One is we are in a world where China has killed over 1 million Americans with fentanyl poison. And we took this step to stop that. We will continue to press on that. At the same time, we invoked that rule to stop what has been 20 million illegal aliens streaming into our country, driving down wages, taking jobs away. That's an economic emergency. On top of that, the world continues to steal about $1 trillion a year as measured by the trade deficit. And that's an economic emergency because it's transferring our wealth abroad. So we think we have a strong case. Yes, we will immediately appeal and try to stay the ruling. But at the same time, the court, interestingly enough, basically said we were right, just use different rules and laws. So nothing has really changed here in that sense. We're still, as we speak, having countries call us and tell us they want a deal. So these deals are going to happen. So that's kind of where we're at. And it's troublesome here because if you look broadly at the pattern, we've got courts in this country who are basically engaged in attacks on the American people. The president ran on stopping the fentanyl poisoning, stopping international trade unfair practices from stealing our factories and jobs, and courts keep getting in the way of that. The courts get in the way of our trying to deal with the border issues. Now they're getting in the way of our trying to deal with the fentanyl crisis. And that's where we stand here. And I think part of what's going to be important about this ruling demonstrates yet again to the American people that the judiciary in this country has been weaponized in ways which are contrary to their interests.
All right, so that was Peter Navarro, Trump financial advisor. I forget what his actual position is. That was obviously before the appellate court overturned it and that they can keep going with the tariffs. I included that for one reason. Did that sound like a guy who was worried? Did that sound like a guy who at any point had said, you know, it looks like they've stopped us? That's what I want to see with somebody. That's what I want to see in leadership in our government. When something supposedly goes bad against them, when it looks like, you know, this could be kind of like dark and we could be in trouble, and he sits back calmly and goes, yeah, we're just going to do this. We still talking. Nothing changed. That must be completely disheartening to the left when you know you're trying to stop him, and every time you do something, they just sit back and smile at the camera as if nothing has happened, and they keep moving forward. That's Trump. You're not going to stop me. Again, it's already happening. This next piece is from the Nvidia owner, actually chairman, and listening to what he has to say. These next couple clips are financial oriented.
Earnings call that you trust President Trump and that the president has a vision and a plan. Could I ask if you've talked to him about that plan and if it includes coordinating with Nvidia on policy adjustment that relates to changes in technology export controls?
Well, obviously, I don't know all of his ideas, but let me tell you about two that are incredible. The first one is utterly visionary. The idea of tariffs being a pillar of a bold vision to reindustrialize, to onshore manufacturing, and motivate the world to invest in the United States. And it's just an incredible vision. I think this is going to be a transformative idea for the next century for us. We're all in on the idea. We're setting up plans and encouraging our partners from around the world to invest in the United States, and we have a lot of stuff going on. And so I'm very excited about that.
This is today. This is, Jensen is talking about all the things that they're going to do, and this was today. Again, just like with Peter Navarro, doesn't seem phased whatsoever. We're moving forward. We are investing in America. We are working with President Trump. Wasn't even a hiccup, not even a speed bump. Just keep going. He didn't care. The judge, if it hadn't been overturned, they weren't stopping. They couldn't have stopped. Let me just go back to the beginning of the show here. And wait a minute, I got to find this where SB had sent this to me. Hold on, where is it? All right, so this got announced, which I read to you earlier. And this was at, let's see, what time did this go up? This went up at 6:50 this evening. And they're talking about Nvidia, Dell, and Trump doing a next level supercomputer and blah, 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 all the things. You think that happened in a couple hours? Do you think any of this happened, or that it was stalled because of the judge saying you couldn't do this and couldn't do that? Of course not. This stuff has been in the works for quite some time. They announced it tonight, but it has been in the works. They're going to do it. So as I look at some of these things and try to say, none of the stuff that's being planned was inhibited at all by what these judges are doing. And you wouldn't be continuing with these kinds of plans if you thought you weren't going to be able to see them through fruition. This one comes out. What time did this come out? Let's see here. This came out at 8:54, just a little while ago. Elon announces Gigabay. Gigabay to build 1,000 starships per year. Elon announced that Gigabay, a new megastructure designed to build 1,000 starships annually. He said 2 will be constructed, 1 in Texas and 1 in Florida. Boom! Each starship is larger than a Boeing 747. The scale of Gigabay would make it one of the biggest structures on Earth. 1,000 starships. 1,000. The scale of Gigabay would make it one of the biggest structures on Earth. When you see this stuff being released, and you think that yesterday the judges were saying you can't do this and you can't do that, you think these people just planned it after the ruling said he could? No. This stuff has been in play for quite some time, and they're not. You can't stop what's coming. You cannot stop what's coming. And he's going to put one of these monstrous things, I mean just huge things, 1 in Texas and 1 in Florida. Maybe that's what they're going to talk about tomorrow. 1,000 starships in this huge mega thing. Gigabay. I can't even imagine how big this thing is. Look at that. One of the largest structures everywhere. It's crazy. So let's continue.
The second major idea is to rescind the AI diffusion rule, recognizing that this isn't about limiting American technology, but this is about accelerating American stacks around the world to make sure that before it's too late, that the world builds on American stacks during this extraordinary time, the AI era. And so these two initiatives are completely visionary, and it's going to be transformative for America.
Transformative for America. Last time I heard the word transformative, they were trying to make, the Transformers to be transformative. These guys are talking gazillions. I don't understand how the Democrats can come out and say it's only for millionaires and billionaires. Are you kidding me? If this is one of the biggest structures ever built in the country and he's going to build 2, I'm pretty sure people are going to have to work to build those. One of the biggest structures on Earth, times 2. Oh man, we're going to be so rich and prosperous. Democrat Party can't stop what's coming.
Sending that up on Monday or Tuesday, whenever the House is back in session. They will get our first rescissions bill. And again, this has been proposed and we've talked about it. We want to make sure that Congress passes its first rescissions bill, including the DOGE, and we will send more if they pass it. And so this is the first one is foreign aid, USAID cuts, many of the waste and garbage that was funding not only wasteful but hurting our foreign policy, but also the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and NPR. We'll be sending that up and we're working with Congress. And we've had good conversations to make sure that they knew what was coming. They had some input as to changes that could be made to make it something that could pass the House. And we're excited for that to occur next week.
Well, Brett, it's so funny. There's a comment here by Lori. And she's so right. She says, these people are so out of the Democrats' league, it's not even funny. Well, really, it is funny. They can't even converse on this level. They have no idea what's happening. Can you imagine being a Democrat right now and going, millionaires, billionaires, racists, DEI, they're so, it's so beyond them. I mean, think about it. Who could possibly lead them at this point? Who would have any idea on how to even discuss what's happening? We're seeing leaders of industry from across the world, people who have actually built billion-dollar companies, multi-billion-dollar companies. You're going to bring Hakeem Jeffries out to talk with them? Chuck Schumer? Who? Who do you have that can have even a low-level conversation with Jensen from Nvidia? Can't happen. It can't happen. And the problem is you built your party that way. You built your party to make sure you're all DEI, racism, and transformators and whatever. And you're not talking about anything that people actually care about. And so, of course, you're starting to see that fray where a bunch of Democrats are start looking at this stuff. You can't help but look at the biggest structure on earth getting built in Texas and Florida and realize, wow, that's huge. Yeah. You know what that means? You know what that means? It smells like, money. Trying to wake you up. Just like Lori, I think her name was Lori. People can't even have this conversation. It's not even on their level. Don't be on their level. You need to start thinking, wait a second, man. Are you kidding me? What is happening here? Rescissions that they're putting out there, different things. These are conversations you as an American have probably never heard in your life. Think about that. They're going back on the same old crap over and over and over. And these people are talking about going to Mars. Literally. Here's Scott Besson.
It seems highly inappropriate for the judiciary to wade in here when the Senate had the opportunity to override the president and didn't. So, in terms of separation of powers, the Senate has chosen not to exercise their powers, and the president absolutely has the right to set the trade agenda for the U.S. This administration is committed to fair trade, and we are striking the best deals for the American people, and anything that the courts do to get in the way, both harms the American people in terms of trade and in terms of tariff revenue. On the other
courts getting in the way. And I think that's such a great message to let people know. They're just getting in the way, and it's hurting you. Revenue. Making more money. I don't know. I talked to JJ about it, and he put his pastor on. I'm like, what is wrong with people? Why do they keep quoting that money's all the bad things? No, it's not. The problem is you've never had a president who is boldly spoken to you, and with his administration, nobody's ever spoken to America like this. I mean, I can go all the way back to, before, I wasn't too young when JFK got killed, but I've never heard anybody speak like this. Think about it yourself. Maybe that's the problem holding people back, is because they never knew that life could be this way. If you never knew that life could be this way, now's the time to start thinking, oh, can I really go to Mars? Can I really shoot for the stars? Can you start telling your children and your grandchildren that? Well, the way these people are talking, I mean, the numbers are staggering. Just saying.
Other side, we're going to deliver a better product to the American people. Because Brett, I lived in New York, I lived in Florida, and the state of New York spends about $235 billion a year. State of New York spends about $235 billion a year. State of Florida spends about $125 billion. Both states have approximately the same number of people, but Florida doesn't have an income tax. And I can tell you, having lived in both, it's better not to have an income tax, and Florida gives better services. So we want the U.S. to be more like Florida, less like New York.
Oh, hell no. Oh no, did he just put that out there? No. Oh, Mr. Besson, please, we want keep them up there. Don't tell them what we got going on down here. They don't believe it anyway. See, that's another thing. I talk to people all the time. They watch me. Oh, Barry, it's not like you're telling me what it's like down here, huh? Okay. Woo. You're crazy. This guy's a billionaire. He knows what life is like down here. Ron DeSantis just said that they're going to use gold and silver as legal tender down here. Miami-Dade has turned red. Miami-Dade has turned red. The biggest area in Florida. This place has turned into a complete money-making paradise. It's incredible. And he had to go ahead and blow. Don't tell people. Shh. Yeah, there's no income tax. About to have no property tax. Shh. Don't tell people. Let them think it sucks down here. Oh, yeah, it's all rednecks. Yep, it's all rednecks. Yeah, it's MAGA world. Yes, it is. I'm sorry, it is. You don't see any of those crazy videos of them trying to rip MAGA hats off of people's heads down here. You know why? Because most of us don't even have to wear it. We already know talking to people in the bank or in the store, in the restaurant. How you doing? Oh, I'm doing really well. You know, if you guys have been to restaurants lately, and now the servers no longer take cash for your check or anything, they just bring you like this little machine, and the little machine is you put your credit card in it, and then you just go ahead and do like this, right? And when you do this, you can just go ahead and add the tip and everything. They just drop them off at the table. It's just, hey, well, I'm going to go check this one out here, okay? You guys can put the credit card in here. Or now they've got stuff at the table where you can scan for your bill because they're moving so much money. Things are going so well. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not bragging about me. I'm bragging about Florida and how awesome it is to live down here. And Scott Bessent, you're out here telling people, can you shut up, bro? Stop telling them. I'm trying to get the hell out of California. I like rednecks. Yeah, well, they're not here in South Florida. That'd be like in Central Florida. Let's see here. Watch the Dems destroy themselves. They're already doing it. That's for sure. Joseph Rodriguez, don't come here. There's nothing but rednecks and gay. We should put up a sign. Don't cross over here, okay? You don't know what it's like. There's bugs and all. Oh, it's awful living down here. Oh, good gosh. I miss Florida. Lived there in the mid 80s to 90s. A fun time and a wild time, man. Do I miss those days? Great. Florida is MAGA world. It is indeed. I don't think they'll want to come down here. I'm dreading this summer because it's already too hot this spring in North Carolina too. But we got a beach. Let's see here. Rename Florida to, yeah, I'm telling you, we'll call it MAGAland. MAGAland. Okay, let's deal with that. All right, so I love it. I absolutely love how this stuff is happening, and it continues to happen, and all the good news that we keep seeing happen is awesome. So what I'm going to do right now is I want to put up the, let's see here, where are we? Those of you who know, you know. And it's time to do the jump over to Rumble exclusively. We've done almost 2 hours here, and it's going to be, just to let you know in case you got to go to bed, the interview that's I'm about to show with JJ Carell is about an hour long. And the music is going to be a little bit more subdued tonight than it normally is. It's shorter because it's more emotion. There's more emotion in what we're going to be talking about. So when we jump over, we're going to be talking about some sensitive stuff and what's been happening. And it happened that it was today as well. I love the fact that I'm able to speak to him today because Ann could not make it. So let me acknowledge the super chats, and then we'll start the break golf course music, and then we'll see you on the other side. Okay, so just remember, you can get there now while I'm doing the super chats. Okay, let me just move this over here, and we're good to go. All right. Legislot, thank you. Hey, Granny sees it. That's the power of vision, dreaming, and setting goals, Barry. The power of believing and not giving up. I wouldn't still be here if I didn't have those skills. Way to go. Way to go. Rick Williams, Office of Special Counsel isn't new. Since the late 70s, Trump did appoint him as a special prosecutor, but to lead Department of Special Counsel. Understood. Just another knucklehead. Tip jar. Do you have to pay the guests that you have on the show? You mean the people we interview? No. No, Now I do know if once I move into a different studio and I can have people in studio, let me just tell you. So a lot of times when you bring a guest in, you fly them, you put them in a hotel, and that way if they're in person. But if they're online like this, nah, there's you don't have to pay anybody for that. Penny McCorder, mine eyes have seen the glory of the club and the Lord. He is trampling down the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. Glory, glory, hallelujah, his truth is marching on. Thank you. Nicholas Lamonicus, Barry, ABC being dropped by WPLG TV is a big deal. ABC is moving to secondary status. Wow, I did not know that because I never tune it on. Raven Kirkendall, what is Pepe the Frog? Google says racist. Of course they're going to say that. Of course. Pepe the Frog is basically an emblem, a moniker, a mascot for that movement of the 17th letter, if you know what I mean. Tilly, hello. My hearts and prayers to everyone. Thank you. Vicky Schlatter, thank you. Are you related to, oh no, you're not. Rick Williams, Barry, to your viewers, Jackson didn't suspend habeas as a president, but 15 years earlier as a military commander in New Orleans, declaring martial law to prevent a British invasion during War of 1812. Trump will never suspend habeas. Okay, other people are saying just the opposite. Lots of people are saying just the opposite. Christine Mozart, thank you, Barry. About 2 months ago, I was a Democrat and an atheist. Now I'm MAGA and born again. I remember that. So awesome. My life is so much better. You've inspired me to get my CCNP cert, which will boost my finances a lot. Oh, yeah. Johnny Parker, thanks, Barry. Great show. Love you, man. Thank you for tuning in. Melvin Blodgett, entrepreneurial spirit can be taught. I learned from my father at age 12. Keep teaching the ways to grow. Now at 64, you showed me what to do about inherited property. Way to go. Wow. Awesome. Job for 9. Nancy comes from Mafia ties, allegedly. Larry, 1754, Asbury Park, New Jersey, where Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes were from. I still have their debut album. Oh, wow. That's pretty awesome. America Ramirez, this country needs to give thanks to God because saving him with all dash a bullet is communist total control. Dar Louisa, thank you. And Larry again, sorry, my bad about Ted Nugent. We're from Chicago, Detroit. Basically, I was thinking of who? Springsteen. I didn't want to say nothing, but it was Bruce and also Southside Johnny and those guys. Born on the 4th, a little at a time. You know what poop continues to hit the rotary oscillator. The craziness is far from over. That is true. Clarence Wilkerson, what's good, Barry? You are so correct. The military is the only way. Time to unplug right now. Forget about the noise. Something big is coming hard and fast. Love your show and peace. Wait a second. Before I go, looks like SV has another link he just sent me. So let me go ahead and see what this is to bring to you guys. Hold on. All right, so Elon is continuing. He says SpaceX outlines massive Mars logistics for city building operations. SpaceX Mars plan includes 10 launches from Earth per day. I'm sorry. 10 launches from Earth per day across multiple sites. Each launch would deliver 200 tons to low Earth orbit. Per Mars transfer window, the target is 1.5 million tons to orbit and 250,000 tons to be delivered to Mars. A city on Mars will be supported by large-scale logistics, launch capacity, and cargo transfer volumes are within reach. The system is designed to support long-term human presence, infrastructure development, and continuous transport between Earth and Mars. Wow. When President Trump said we're about to go on a rocket ship, he ain't kidding. He wasn't kidding at all. Wow. I mean, this is just breaking stuff. I mean, just, you can't even imagine. You can't even imagine it. Ashley had sent me something, and this is interesting. A U.S. government employee was arrested for attempting to provide classified information to foreign governments. So there's some crazy stuff happening. Crazy stuff. All right, so I'm going to jump over to Rumble. I'm going to play the break music, and then when we come up again, the interview with JJ is right about an hour. So I hope you guys can stay. We've gone a little bit long here tonight on the front end, but in any event, we're just about ready to jump over. So we'll see you on the other side.